Yo, what's going on, my fellow revelers? Welcome back to another episode of the Festi Hub podcast. I'm your host, Manny, aka Frisky Hug, and today's guest, we have Dave Marren. He is co-owner of a company called Alliance Events. His team throws Shipwrecked. It's the music festival in Tampa during Gasparilla. For those of you that don't know what Gasparilla is, it's like when the whole town dresses up as pirates. Green Velvet has been headlining it for the last 3 years. Super cool event. They also do other things they also have like an app called Unitea. So we talk a little bit about that. We talk a little bit about, his company that he's co-owner for. We talk a little bit about Shipwrecked. We talk a little bit about, his growth, how he got started, his development, some of the things that he's learned along the way, some like bad business decisions, good business decisions, and just things that he's, had to endure on his journey. Super cool stuff. I really enjoyed it. And as for me, what do I have going on? Let's see. I know that next week is Miami Music Week Ultra, right? I think for those asking, the only plan right now is I think I'm gonna go to Miami on Friday, and I'm gonna probably go to Space. I think Space is in the works for Friday. For Saturday, I don't really know yet. If you guys have any opinions, let me know. I don't really know what I'm gonna be doing. I'm sure I'll find something. If not, probably just go to the nearest pool party and just have fun. We'll see. I have some friends. I have a lot of friends actually going. If anyone can, if I find a ticket on the floor, I'm picking it up and we'll try out Ultra, I guess. But other than that, I don't actually think I have anything else aside from that. I do know we got Lucid coming up this Thursday. Well, I guess it's bad tense because I think I'm uploading this on Friday. We got Lays in March. Wait, May? I know Lays is coming up. I forget the exact date. It's one of those. But Lays is my girl. Respect. And who else? I'm going to John Summit April 15th if anyone's gonna be doing that. But that's it for the events that I can think of on the top of my head. Up until we get to like EDC Las Vegas. But okay, that is our intro for our podcast. Let the podcast begin. All right, so I'd like to welcome Dave to the Festia podcast.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going great.
So for those that don't know, I actually know Dave because I think like a year ago, I met him at Shipwrecked, and then this last upcoming year, I helped him out with some Shipwrecked promo, and then I believe we did some like after party promos as well together. That's kind of like how I know you and stuff. But for the viewers out there, if you wouldn't mind giving a quick intro.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, for a brief kind of present tense situation, my name's Dave Marren. I'm a co-founder of Alliance Events, which produces the Shipwreck Festival, which is how I know Manny. I also work on Uniteamusic, which is a music app. And basically, I've been, spending all my time trying to share and get involved in music that me and my friends are passionate about. So excited to talk more about it.
What kind of brought you into the industry?
So I actually got involved in the industry. I mean, it just depends on when you want to really say that count as the beginning.
Yeah, true.
Like I've always been involved in music, but I was a guitarist for a long time. Still,
yeah, I see the guitars in the back. Are those old, like your old guitars, or do you still play with them?
No, I still play with all these. Some of those I've had for like 15 years. That one, that Strat there, my brother got me for my birthday last year, actually. So not too old, actually. But no, in high school and college, I was in a band with a couple of my friends. We played metal music. And then
you look like a metalhead.
Sweet. Oh, thanks, man. That's the life. But then in college, I was trying to get my band gigs. So I volunteered for the campus activities board at UCF. I was studying economics, but was interested in music and events. And then I got to eventually be the director at CAB and got to help produce events for the school. And I didn't get my band any gigs, but I did get to learn about events that way. So that was kind of how I initially got into it. Through that experience, I got to volunteer at a lot of festivals like Harvest of Hope and like the Fest in Gainesville, where like just wrangle up a bunch of college kids and we would like sleep on cars and inhale dust for a whole weekend. But then like just the environment of it, of like, like-minded people getting together, for music and things that they're passionate about was just like, shit, this is amazing, and
Yeah, the
I
community
want to get more
really.
involved in this. That's exactly right. It's the
Yeah.
community. Yeah. So that
And
was how I got involved in the industry, like as a whole, in a really general term.
and then I know you said that you were you were the co-founder for Alliance Events, right?
Yeah.
Who's the other co-founder?
So that was Alex Wood and Vernon Foster. How I got into that was at the end of my UCF stint doing events there. I thought I wanted to work in like the record industry, so I
Mm,
moved to New York, and I was working for Universal Music for about a year. Realized that was like the devil, just like the major record labels, especially at that time. This is like, we're talking like 2011, like
mm.
just post Napster. They're like not investing in artists; they're just doing like shady deals. So I was like, screw this. I want to go back and work on events again. So a buddy of mine from UCF was working at a venue called Firestone, which you probably know now as the Vanguard. And
Oh wow,
he,
I have yeah. So I just started. So I just lived here like a year now. I'm like I
okay,
came in, yeah. So I don't know much about like the history of like the Orlando scene and all that stuff, but I have heard that was called Firestone before.
yeah,
Before Insomniac bought it out, I believe, right?
yes. So it was called Firestone because it was actually the first auto shop built by Harvey Firestone back in like, I don't know, the 1920s or something.
Mhm.
I don't know. The owner would tell you stories about it, but yeah, so it was called Firestone Live, Club Firestone, etc. for a long time. And then they remodeled it, the whole thing, and now it's the Vanguard. But no, I was working there just, just as a gig. I just wanted to stay involved in music. I was doing promotions and marketing for the venue, and they were doing all hip hop, metal, rock, like any kind of show, basically.
Mhm.
So I was doing that for a period of time, and then basically one day the owner said, "Hey, all right, we're going to cancel everything. We're not doing shows anymore. We're just going to be a dance club." And to me, as like my background in like metal
Yeah.
music, I was like, "F this! Like, what is this, like top 40, like
Yeah.
Justin
Yeah.
Bieber
Exactly.
stuff?"
College club scene. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, I'm quitting. Like, I am out of this. And it was just right about that time that a dude named Vernon Foster, who was DJing for a really talented Orlando artist who's still around called D2. He's a rapper. He said, "Hey man, you gotta meet my buddy Alex, and we're really into this, like we're learning about dubstep music, and we're super into this." So they kind of taught me about dance music, and I
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
hanging out with them, and basically they wanted to do a weekly club night
Uh-huh.
for dance music. And the more I talked to them, because it was becoming a dance club, and I was plotting my exit, but the more I talked to these guys, I'm like, shit, like no, this is real music. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
this could be tight. So with that, we created a weekly called Ignition, and that was our tagline was that it was Orlando's only weekly music festival. So I really wanted to take that festival energy and put it into the club somehow. These guys kind of taught me about electronic music, and together we created a weekly called Ignition, because there was back in the day there was a bunch of different rooms. That corner bar used to be its own like den room, so we would like base
Yeah.
that shit out with subwoofers, and like then the main stage was like on the other side of the room. And then the upstairs, you could like close off with glass. So it was like, progressive house up there. So it was like 3 different stages, like 20 different artists. Like every Thursday we would do this. And the company that was formed to create Ignition was called Alliance Events. Alex, I think, came up with that name, who's the creative director still. And yeah, that was basically how Alliance started.
That's crazy to like think that that's how you got started with like dubstep. Like most people
Oh
were like,
yeah.
oh, like I went to a rave, and but a lot of people's like love for like the scene and the community, it grows usually from going like the first few raves. So it's funny that your love for the community actually grew through metal and then kind of like took a turn into it.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it was metal, hip hop, like
Yeah.
basically it wasn't dance music what I had my background in, until I met Alex and Vernon, who
Hmm.
were more versed in dance music, and then I kind of brought some event experience to them. They brought the dance music to me, and
Hmm.
then we started Alliance that way.
Yeah, man. It's like just things are just meant to be. What makes up Alliance? Like, who are all is it just a team of three, or do you guys have you guys expanded to a bigger?
Yeah, no. So now our management team is about five people or so. There's me. Alex Wood is still involved as a creative director. Amy
Mhm.
Sabis, I'm not sure if you know her, but she's our marketing director, and she also curates a lot of like the bass music lineups because she's just really in that scene. Julian Maynard does a lot of like day of show operations, manages street team, and he's really involved in the house music scene. Sarah Fry's been helping me with like
Mhm.
literally everything in the last year or so. So we've got a team that's kind of like people that help sort of manage and plan things. on the daily, and then across, you know, Orlando, Tampa, Gainesville, sometimes Tallahassee in South Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and Jacksonville, we have probably like 70 or so people that are involved in promoting events. But with the way that we do it with our company is we don't just have promoters, we have event collaborators, because a lot of the events that we produce, they grow out of like team discussions and team meetings from like all the people that promote the events. They say, oh, I really want to see this artist, or I wish we could do a show in this like strange like parking garage, or you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, just come up
So
with ideas.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So we want everybody on the team who's helping promote not show up to an event and say like, oh yeah, I promoted this. They'll be like, no, I created this event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way that our teams is sort of structured.
For Alliance, like what kind of events through Alliance have you guys created so far? And like what kind of events are you guys like most proud of, honestly?
Man, so I mean, like our initial, like I could go like forward in time or back in time. If I start most recent, like I was really excited about the New Year's Eve event that we did in
Uh-huh.
Jacksonville, because that was at a museum. You know, I
Mhm.
don't know why they let us do it, and I don't know if they will again.
Wait, do you have a video about that? Because I didn't even hear about that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll send you all the
Yeah,
info.
that's super dope. I'd like to watch
Yeah.
that.
If you're familiar with G Jones,
Yep.
just amazing experimental bass producer. Him and his whole team and his management with Lab Group as well, curated like a 2-day New Year's Eve weekend with us at the Museum of Science and History in
Mm.
Jacksonville. So we got to do, you know, use the whole parking lot and do thousands of people, and then let people come in and out of the museum while there was a big stage outside, and that was really awesome.
Yeah, it reminds me of Miami. They always do like raves around like museums there too. I think
Hell yeah,
Element, right? Elemental or Elements. One of the clubs down in Miami, they do the exact same thing. Very
sick.
similar. I don't know. The Meow Wolf, that's like an interactive type museum, right? For a
Yeah,
whole experience. And they
yeah,
also throw events too at Meow Wolf. So that's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of the Meow Wolves now. It's amazing. I haven't got to go to one of the concerts that they plan there. I heard the one in Denver does that pretty often.
Dude, I've been wanting to go to the one in Denver. I've went to the one in New Mexico. It was pretty dope. The town that it's in is but the Denver though,
That's in Santa Fe, right?
yeah, it's sketchy as
Yeah.
hell.
Is it? Damn, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just kind of
Dude,
wanted to go. I feel like the landscapes out there would be badass.
dude, I walked by. So I walked to the venue, and on my way there, like I passed Motel 6, and there was like a whole CSI team there.
Huh.
I don't know if it was a
Wow.
murder or a suicide, but I'm like, yeah, this is cool on my way to my rave. No, like shit, dude. It's super sketch, man.
Not what
I
you want to see when you're coming up, but
exactly. We better turn this car around.
yeah.
Uh,
Damn.
but like, you guys also create Shipwreck Music Festival. Can you tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Shipwrecked, I mean, how did it start? We've been doing it about 5, 6 years now.
Okay.
Um, so Gasparilla, I mean, when I was in like high school and whatever, we would like skip school and like go to Gasparilla and like go mess things up in Tampa Bay. So it's something that's always been really fun, and I know a lot of people in Orlando were familiar with it too. And I think it was during like Miami Music Week, we were down there at an event like backstage or something, and I was with some of the Alliance team, and I can't remember who it was, some DJ, and we were just talking about that, like sneaking off to Gasparilla and how fun it'd be to like DJ some pirate thing like that. And then we got
Yeah.
back, we were just talking about it. We're like, shit, why don't we just do this? Like,
Yeah. Especially since there isn't one. Like,
yeah, exactly. Because I mean, for a while, I was like, is this a bad idea? Like, you don't want to be competing with Gasparilla, but at the
right.
same time, it's like people are there to party. Like, you might as well give them some amazing music to like enjoy the full weekend with, you know?
And a lot of
So,
people, at least from my experience, it was like they would go to Gasparilla early in the day, get drunk, and then they would go to the event.
yeah,
So it's like,
that's kind of how it worked out.
and then I saw you, and then you guys have all those after parties. Like the party just doesn't end with you guys.
No, yeah, yeah, it's a big weekend, so we figure like let's party as long as we can.
And then Green Velvet has been playing at Shipwreck for how long?
Man, so we've had him. You know, I think there's been what 6 shipwrecks now, and he's probably played 3 of them. So we have him a lot. He's not there
Yeah.
every year, but it's just he's so good, and he's just like such an amazing artist and an amazing dude, and just like, there's and a lot, and recently in the last 2 years, I think,
Mhm.
or something, he was available like right around that time, and we're just like, should we, like, yeah, let's bring him. We know he's going to deliver. We know he's going to play an
Yeah.
amazing set, and we just love having him. He's
Yeah.
he's probably he's one of my favorite artists of all time,
Oh,
and
really?
that's yeah, and I'm a guy who grew up listening to, like, metal and stuff, so it's
I
just
mean,
like,
there's a lot of people that were like, "Oh my god, Green Velvet's gonna play," because that's probably like your biggest day, because you guys have it both days, right? Green Velvet Day is usually your biggest day, or
yeah, we do Friday and Saturday. Saturday's always bigger because that's when Gasparilla actually is. So
okay,
there's like,
true,
people.
true.
Friday we get the Tampa crowd. Saturday we get Tampa, and then whoever else travels in usually. And yeah, the last year we had Green Velvet on Saturday, and that was a really big night.
Yeah, and I know I have some friends that are like they only want to go because of Green Velvet, and then
Oh, yeah.
somebody was saying like, "Oh, Green Velvet's like he's the resident DJ." I'm like, "Is he?" Like, I don't know. Like at this point, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, like, not officially, but it's like kind
Yeah,
of it's become that way just because
yeah.
we both them. And even we've been talking a little bit about it. I mean, even like as it grows, I mean, if we do, triple the size of what we're doing right now, like, it still makes sense to have him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. We will anytime we get to bring him back for Shipwrecked or any event, it's just always a privilege to work with that dude.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he really enjoys it because if he's playing 3 times already, he obviously enjoys the event, so that's really cool, man.
He has a lot of fun. Yeah.
Let's move on to our next topic, which was gonna be, Unity music. You touched it a little bit on
Yeah.
that. If you
Yeah.
wanna kind of explain that.
Yeah, for sure. So Unity is it's an engage to earn platform that basically the idea is that everything that you do in your normal life, like you listen to music, you share
Mhm.
music, you go to shows, if you could get sort of points for that, like frequent flyer miles, and then artists can reward you with tickets, merch, or special experiences, meet and greets, helicopter ride over the Grand Canyon and hang out, like whatever. That's kind of the idea of it. So it syncs directly in with your Spotify or your Apple Music, and then when you listen to music, it's kind of like frequent flyer miles. Like, you get what's called karma in the app. I think they call it that on Reddit too. And then basically you can exchange karma for these rewards. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
how it works. Yeah,
How do you spell Unity? Or is it like how it's
UNITEA.
oh, okay.
And yeah, I met my buddy Kathan Rahandale in Orlando. He was coming to our Alliance shows, and a girl, Megan, who was on our promotion team, said, "Hey, you got to meet my friend. He's like developing this music stuff." And like, us as an independent, concert promotions company, we have to stay like way ahead of the curve on just like what the local people want to do in order
Mhm.
to compete with these multinationals, and it's kind of insane. So we started. I met him, and we were nerding around about data and stuff like that for a long time. And I was like, shit, like this, if this could be useful to us, then it could be useful to the whole industry. And back then it was called Jukes, and the ideas turned around a lot of times, and Unity is what it is today.
Has it been successful in your eyes so far?
I think the product is finally where we kind of like it
Mhm.
to be. It's gone through a lot of iterations. It was almost like a white label festival app for a
Mhm.
while. Like, you just, create a scheduler lineup for any festival you go to, which is cool. But
Okay.
the core value proposition that I just kind of described is like, that's what it's really made to do. And I think a lot of those extra features, like, they're nice and they're there, but now finally, like, the product, the way it's supposed to be, is finally looking really nice.
Okay. Uh, so speaking on just your total experience and how you got where you're at and all the things that you've done, what are some of the hardships that you had to go through to basically get to the position that you're at now?
Um, I mean, honestly, the hardest thing that I would say is like just working in the space. I mean, the concert industry and the festivals, music, all that. It's an extremely competitive space, right?
Super
Everybody wants
competitive.
to be involved in it. Yeah. So being an independent company and having to kind of compete in a lot of ways with these multinational corporations, like, Live Nation, which is Insomniac now, and then like, all these other huge companies, it's really difficult. So that's probably been the biggest challenge, is that when we build relationships with artists and
Mhm.
managers, and we have that history, and we really try to just, we have to really know that we do something really special. Like, deliver something really amazing for the artist, really amazing for the fans. We have to do something really different that's really unique and really us. And if we can do that, then we're, you know, kind of sustainable. But if we're just trying to cut and paste this show, that show, like honestly, like the big companies do, then we can't really compete with them because, you know, they have that huge multinational leverage. Most of the booking agencies are also huge multinational firms,
Yeah.
not all of them, but most of them. So
Yeah,
they,
there's a few that really are though. It's like
yeah,
I won't say names, but like I know a couple people and like they own like some pretty big like talent agencies, and it's like what's when I describe them, it's like, oh, this guy literally owns one of the biggest like booking agencies in the US, so that's how I
sick.
describe it. This is what it is, and it sucks, but like and not only that, I feel like not only are you competing with like the larger scale companies, but also you have to worry about like your local companies too that are also putting out shows at the same time you're putting out shows, so it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with local companies, it's not that big of a deal because like
mhm,
they're, you know, local companies are going to do what they're able to do, and they
mhm,
would have to put up with the giant corporations as well.
yeah,
But when it comes to the bigger companies, it's like when you're booking like really large multinational talent, that's where you're really competing with those companies. So, um, you know, with other local companies, they a lot of times they're working with particular venues or this or that. Everybody kind of has their own niche, and it's
mhm,
like every at least in our experience right now, everybody's kind of playing pretty well together. There's not really we don't really see any issues or we don't really have problems with local companies at the moment, but it's the really big companies. A lot of times they'll, for instance, an artist that we have a relationship with,
mhm.
we'll come into a situation where we can't book that artist for like more than a year almost
Oh
because of like
yeah,
radiuses on different festival
yeah, that's
assets that they
right.
have. And these festivals could be 400 miles away. They could be in like Georgia or something like, but that happens. So
Damn, yeah,
that's
I completely forgot. I always forget about the radius clause, man. And I have like other friends that also throw events, and they're always everyone always has to like work around the radius clause. I think that's probably one of the bigger like hiccups you're gonna run into. And
yeah,
they're not gonna give up a fucking festival for whatever event we're throwing or you're throwing.
absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of curious about like I know a lot. I'm still kind of like new to like the Florida scene and all that stuff, so I'm kind of curious. Maybe I'll drop some names that I don't know.
Sure.
But what are some like venues that you've worked with for throwing events? Can you
Yeah.
just name a few?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, in Orlando, since that's where you live, we used to do. I mean, we started at Firestone, so we used to do all our shows there at
Hmm.
Firestone, which then became the Vanguard. When it became the Vanguard, we weren't that much involved. We helped promote a few shows with Insomniac, but our team is a bunch of creatives. So if like Amy, Julie, and Alex, and like
Hmm.
if we don't get to have more creative control over what we're doing, then it's like the passion for it kind of dwindles
Yeah,
down. So we haven't done that much at Vanguard anymore because we don't get to fully produce the events. But then also in Orlando, I mean, the Beacham, love that venue. The Plaza, which we work on shows there with AEG Live sometimes. And then Attic Orlando, which we used to do a lot of progressive house music shows there. They've been doing more like underground house nowadays. So we're like kind of excited to get more involved over there. And even for other stuff, we have like Hamdi coming, like UK dubstep,
hmm,
coming in April to the Attic in Orlando. Um, and then also the Central Florida Fairgrounds. We did res like on the outside. Um, and the bigger stuff worked really well for the outside. But then we started doing shows in the warehouse there back in like 2015, which was like Orlando Warehouse Series, and that's a really great space too. Those obviously require like you build an entire
yeah.
stage, like everything. Same with Ace Cafe. I mean they've got a nice backyard there, so we started doing a couple shows, big gigantic of the trees in the last month or so. Was really great. That's a cool venue because it's right downtown and it's outside.
It is, yeah,
So
and
yeah.
then the backyard area is super freaking cool, and especially like in Orlando, where most of the times you're gonna get a pretty nice weather. Um,
Oh yeah.
so it's funny because like you mentioned like three names. I've never even heard of these places. Like it's just so like
Oh, let me know. I'll
new.
tell you anything. You've been
Yeah,
here.
for real.
You've been here 2 years. You said
1 year.
1 year. Oh hell yeah. Um, I mean, and then Tampa Bay, like you're familiar with Cuban Club, obviously, because that's where we do Shipwrecked.
Yep, yep.
So that's a fun place. And then there was like Janice Live. We have the Polish Ambassador coming up. We've done San Holo there. Have you been to
Yeah,
Janice?
I haven't been to
Cool.
Janice yet. Yeah, that's so like I still want to go to the St. Pete in Tampa area a little bit more. I just
Yeah.
know like 2 venues in Tampa, so like the Ritz and TK Lounge. That's all I know.
Cool. Yeah, TK Lounge. We've got that same Hamdi tour coming up there. We just
Mhm.
announced Six and Tie Dye Kai. So we love that place for bass music. The owners are just super cool guys.
Oh yeah,
And Brian and or no, Il and Brian.
yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Super, super cool guys. So yeah, that's I mean, Tampa and Jacksonville, we used to do River City Brewing, which was this brewery on the water that a couple of guys we used to work with showed us, and we're like, this is cool. The manager there like really wanted to do more concerts,
Mhm.
and we were doing a lot there. And then they leveled the whole building. they,
Shit.
they sold the property, tried to put it up for like commercial real estate, and then the project ended up not even going through. So you've just got a pile of rubble there. It's a very sad story.
Do you do events in Miami?
Sometimes, yeah, we've worked on I mean really a lot of events over the years. We don't do as much during like Miami Music Week anymore because it's just wild. It's just a lot of like cloud chasing and stuff, and like
Mhm.
we don't do too much with it. If it's a really like solid opportunity and the team's excited about it, we'll do it. But it felt after a while that we were just doing things to do things because a lot of artists are in town already and want to do stuff, but like it's got to make sense.
Do you sorry, I'm gonna like get off topic or whatever, but I'm just kind of
No, whatever you
curious.
want.
Do you have like another job? Like what do you do aside from like EDM stuff?
I mean, with Alliance, we do like kind of any type of genre. We're not specific in EDM. Like I actually started with other genres and then came into dance music this way. So like we did Freddie Gibbs at the
Mhm.
Ritz last year with a buddy Taylor that I met with Forward Thinkers in Tampa. And then so yeah, we're kind of like with any kind of genre. And then so between Alliance and Unity, that's my full time right there. I mean,
Mm.
that's yeah, basically the two of those things is 100% of my time.
Are you guys doing any 420 events? I know that's coming up.
Yeah, we have Hamdi at the Attic in Orlando on 420.
Oh, that's gonna be a 420 event. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you like bass music?
I do like bass music.
Yeah, come get weird with us at the Attic. Well, yeah, I'll message you about it afterwards.
Okay,
But
definitely message me back because I don't think I've been to the attic yet.
it's
Uh,
dope. Man. It's a cool like upstairs, like pretty intimate venue. It's like got really dope lighting and sound, and it's like
mhm.
this like small room that we're just gonna like fuck up with bass
I'm
music.
down, man. I'm down.
Yeah.
Uh, you don't have to spill any tea or anything like that.
Yeah.
But my next question is, do you regret any business decisions that you've made?
Yes and no. Um, like yes, but no. I mean, the first, we started just doing shows at Firestone,
Mhm.
right? We created a weekly there, and it was the venue's in-house project back when I was working for the venue, and then Alliance Events started to promote it, and then when we kind of started going other places, then we were producing things ourselves, right? Like our own money, our own capital, our own everything, right? So our first event outside of that was in Tampa at it was I mean I don't mind talking about it because fuck these guys, but
Do it, do it, do it.
yeah, straight up. I mean it was a venue called the Drink Soho in I don't even know if it's there anymore,
Yeah.
and we just got straight up robbed, bro. Like we were that was our first like real show outside of the it wasn't really the first, but it kind of was. And we had Paper Diamond booked, who like I was a huge fan of. A lot of the team was really into, and we booked them at the Drink Soho, and basically like we paid for the artist. We were supposed to run the doors, and these guys had like three different entrances, and they were just taking all our ticket money, and it's just
Oh
robbed.
man.
Yeah, so it's like, do I regret that? Like, I mean, if I could go talk to myself, I'd be like, look, bro, this is what you got to do to not, but also no, because I learned that lesson really quickly. And like us as a company, like my whole team learned that lesson really quickly. So it's good that it happened then, right? It's good that it doesn't happen when we're working on a festival and we
Mhm.
get robbed for like $1 million, right? So it's like,
Right, right, exactly. Do it now. You know, it's wow, it's crazy that you mentioned that because I have some friends that also throw like they throw like after party events, sometimes like regular events, like small techno stuff. And they ran the kind of very similar problem where they were charging $15 for this event, and then after like 2 o'clock, it was supposed to be like a conjunction to like the after party. After 2 o'clock, they were charging 30, and they were just pocketing all the money at the end.
It's tough. Yeah, you really got to watch stuff, and like most importantly, you just have to be precise in expectations. That's one thing that I've learned a lot is like just have an extremely clear deal set up. Make sure that the other party's winning for what they consider to be a win, like whether
Right.
it's the venue or whoever you're working with. If they feel like they're winning, then and you feel like you're winning, like you're gonna have a good relationship, and you don't have to worry about anyone being sketchy. It's mutually beneficial. Like there's enough there's enough to go around, and you just have to really get things right with the deal and just make sure that everybody has an upside. So
Are you
um,
ever afraid that like one of your events is just gonna completely flop?
I mean, kind of always, like
Yeah. We're human.
yeah, I mean, every event that we book, is almost like, you wonder like, shit, like, are we going to release this and no one's going to buy tickets? And unfortunately, we've been conditioned, fortunately, but unfortunately, we've been conditioned in Florida that like, a lot of people are pretty last minute ticket buyers. It's like
Mhm.
the week of,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah, or God forbid the day of. People that buy day of tickets are the worst. You pay the most,
The
but
thing is, I'm those people.
I mean, I get it. People want to make their plans on the fly, and you pay a premium for
Yeah.
that. But hey, if you buy pre-sale tickets, you get a good price, and you know what else you do? You let promoters like us like get a really good idea of how many people are coming to the event. That means a lot. It lets us like
But
figure
you're
out budgets.
also the one like making like after party events the day of the event. You're like, hey, after
We're
party at
we're we're
Fillmore.
known to we're known to do that. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then like it
We like
sells
to
out
do it.
anyways. Like fuck it. Yeah, your
Yeah.
last one.
Sometimes a pop up will just pop up.
Yeah. But it's crazy because like when you did the last, or at least to me, the one I went to the last pop up, it was like sold out. It was like so last minute too. I was like, damn, like good shit, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes like when the hype is there and people want to go do
hmm
something, like we'll throw it together and and yeah, that's that. But yeah, honestly though, like every event that we do, there's always a little bit of anxiety. It's like, oh, is people going to do this? But since we've been doing so many events over the years, and we produce over 1,000 events now, so it's like it's nerve wracking, but it's consistent. Like we know that like,
hmm
okay, this goes on sale, and like maybe it only does like 10% of the number of tickets it has to do. We're like, okay, but like we've had this panic attack 1,000 times now,
Yeah.
so we know what the trajectory is. Like we know what the scene can expect. Like after enough time, you know what to expect with which kind of artists. And I don't know, the risk kind of goes down the more you do it because you learn the market better.
hmm
If that makes sense. You know what kind of artists, what kind of events are gonna work at what time, and what ones are really not. So we've certainly flopped some
What what
events before we learned that.
what is y'all's thought process? I'm just curious as to when you guys are booking like venues, when you guys are booking artists, like what are you questioning when you're trying to make these decisions?
That's an awesome question. Um, so it comes from two sides, and they're both equally important, but they have to have a balance. So for us, one side that it comes from is the artists, right, and what they want to do and when they can do it, and who they are and where they could fit that best. So
hmm
my inbox is blowing up all the time from artists that are touring and their agents saying, "Hey, we want to go to Florida in this time," or we're trying to, we have this tour date. We're whatever. So they're trying to do that.
Yeah.
So then, the team says, hey, like these artists that are available. We've worked with them before. We're excited to work with them again. We think they'd be best in this venue, this date, that date, this crazy Cinco de Mayo party, this crazy other, whatever we can fit them in, right?
Yeah.
So that's half of it, and that's where some of it comes from. The other place that it comes from, and this is why it has to be a balance, is just from us, like just the team. We'll be on a call, or we'll be in our little group chats and Discord and whatever. We'll just be bullshitting, making jokes about, making fun of each other, ripping on each other, and then we get some crazy idea to go try to throw a show in a museum or is something, and then we were like, wait, we could probably do that, and then
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
put a lot of work into it, and we hit up people, and we think, what artist would be good for this? We want to see this artist, we want to see that artist, and then we make it happen. So it's from both sides, and the reason why it has to be a balance is that if we get inundated with like artists availabilities with them reaching out to us, then we don't get to do enough of what we're creatively passionate about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Vice versa, if we're only doing the shit that we want, then when an artist has their solo headline tour and they have an album release and they want to do something for their brand, and we're just kind of like, screw you guys, then so there has to be a balance, right? We have to make sure the artists are getting what they want, and then also do things that we're creatively passionate about. So that's kind of the two ways that events sort of come together.
Do you guys expand out of Florida, or are you guys planning on expanding outside of Florida?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of conversations with people in a lot of other states actually, because it's become it's become interesting with tour routings. Is you have to kind of think about things as a weekend. So when you come into Florida, I mean, you can do 2 markets on a Friday, Saturday. You can do 3 markets on a Sunday. You can do 5 if you count weekdays and like maybe the college markets, and that's like a whole week there. Once you start getting into Georgia, South Carolina, and we've had a lot of routing conversations with those.
Oh, South
and
Carolina. Okay.
Yeah, South Carolina, even North Carolina, Virginia. Because that's actually not that far if you're doing fly-ins. Like it's pretty easy. Once you do that, now you're talking about like 2 weeks in the leg of a tour, which you can do. You just have to get in really early with the conversation with the booking agency and say, hey, I got a whole route planned for you for the Southeast. So we've been talking a lot about that. We've done a few things here and there out of state, but we are looking to do more. It's just there's a lot, and we're looking. We're kind of working on expanding the team now to like kind of like continue to do the things we're doing and also be able to grow at the same time.
Yeah, man, that's fucking impressive, honestly. Um, to talk more about just like knowledge-based stuff, what are some like helpful tips you would give somebody that maybe wants to be in your shoes or go the route that you did?
I'd say like, I mean, tip wise, like from a business standpoint, I mean, there's like a ton of things I wish I knew, but like I am like the example that I gave you before. So sometimes just learning it the hard way is best. And
Oh, it's so cruel though. It's like
I mean, no, I know, but I mean, like that's to go in like from a business standpoint and think about this, that, the other thing, that could be like a whole seminar. I mean, I won't bore you with too many details. Maybe another time if it's like a more technical focused podcast, we could do that.
Put it in an industry panel one day.
Yeah, totally. Like Florida Music Festival, we've done a couple of those, like that kind of stuff. But fundamentally, the advice I would have is just make sure that you're like consistently doing things that you're really passionate about. That's like fundamentally like the most important thing, because it is a shit ton of work. Like you're always on, you're never really off. Like my lady, like, her and I have to talk sometimes, because like after a big event, like, things should calm down, and a lot of times they don't. And I'm just like on all the time, late night, whatever. So the work-life balance is important. Make sure you're doing that too.
Yeah, I know. So this is like 24/7, it feels like, right? And it's just like you're just not trying to. It's almost like it's funny because you're trying to catch up, but reality is you're just not trying to be swallowed by all the work you got going on. You're just trying to like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, oh, I gotta play catch up, but reality is just I'm just not trying to be swallowed by all the work I gotta do.
Dude, 100%. So it's really important to like make sure that the project's coming in. I mean, you're going to do some things that you're more passionate about than others, and that's just part of the picture. But you have to make sure you're doing enough stuff that really continues to drive you, because otherwise you're going to burn out. You're 100% going to burn out. It's hard to do that. And I'd say the best way to start is just to start. Like for someone like who wants to kind of get involved in these kinds of things, like just go to events, go to meetings for companies. We put out like meetings, either digital. We used to do a lot of physical meetings pre-COVID, and I think we're going to start doing them again, at least on a monthly basis, probably in Orlando. Volunteer at events, festivals, big events, take volunteers all the time. Just check things out. That was what I did at college, and even post college. I just try to get involved in things, and it's tough because you don't make any money when you're doing that.
I know.
So a lot of times you have to do other things and figure it out. But
and it sucks. Yeah, you're not making any money, but like, I mean, if you could at least take learning how to do something that will eventually improve your, your industry lifestyle, I guess. take something from it, I think is a little bit valuable. There's a lot to learn, like creating events, man. And I think that people are too afraid to ask for help and they would rather just fail. And
Yeah,
it's crazy because I feel like if somebody was just to like ask, a lot of people just give you the answer. Like you don't have to do this on your own if you don't want to.
100%, man. That's another one of the biggest things that I learned too is that, you know, coming into this, like, it took me a very long time to really learn how to like delegate certain things.
Oof, that's such a
I
hard skill to do, though.
Oh my God.
Delegation is not easy, man.
Yeah, and then it's just eventually I just had to tell myself, it's like, dude, Dave, like other people know better than you a lot of shit. And it's just like, and you have to really learn to know what you don't know. It's like,
hmm
a lot of my team, all of my team knows a lot more than me about a lot of shit that we do. And like, and then also from that perspective too, like as a team, as a whole, we have to understand that like the community, like all of the people that come to our events and promote our events, they actually probably know more than our team about a lot of things. So it's like we have to really always kind of like use the what do you call it, the integral of like of whoever the real demand is coming from. I don't want to get like too heady, but I
No,
don't know. Like it's hard to explain, but really just knowing what you don't know and like having faith in other people is honestly huge, and it's harder than it sounds. But
I
yeah,
know. Sometimes I feel like we're so prideful to say that, we got where we're at by ourselves. We didn't need nobody. We didn't need no help. We get
yeah,
really prideful sometimes. And it's like letting go of that ego and just surrendering to the advice and the help from others could really make or break your success.
dude, 100%. I mean, honestly, like never underestimate the value of a small group
hmm
of focused and passionate people. Like if they're focused and they're passionate, like a small group of people, I'm talking like 4 or 5 people could do massive, massive things, like make huge changes on the world. And it's just like I've seen that happen so many times. And it's all just about like finding good people. And that's hard too. Like just
That
finding
is
people
hard.
that you can have a long-term connection with and like, yeah.
Especially in
Um
your field, man, where like you have to be careful who you trust. So
100%. Yeah. And and my team gets on me for this a little bit because I feel like I am a little bit more trusting than most. Like I kind of like everybody I meet kind of gets a line of credit, and then it's
yeah.
like, oh wait a minute, they did some weird shit. Maybe they shouldn't. So yeah, that's a lesson that we've learned, that I've learned for sure. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, but eventually over time, it's like, with our company at least, like we've had like a small group of people, and then it grows because like
hmm
over time, like more people just see and want to get involved in the things you're doing, and then they have ideas, and then they contribute out to the world, and then other people come in and get involved, and
hmm
like it's just kind of grows that way. And if you're really focused on like-minded things that you and your team are
hmm
really passionate about, then you're going to kind of end up selecting each other and find a really good group that can do really good things. So I'm really grateful to have met the team
Yeah.
that I have right now that's helping me and working with me on everything.
You know what I like about you is that you're willing to hear people out. You're willing to change, adapt, even grow. I've met a lot of stubborn people that they're always like, if it's not broken, don't fix it mentality. And it's like
Yeah,
that doesn't get you to the next level. That's cool now, but eventually, you're gonna get so stale that you're gonna just die off. To the ability to grow, evolve, and adapt to the future is very
yeah,
important because the people who are actually advising you are telling you what they know because they're part of the community. They're telling you what they want. But
yeah, dude, 100%, man. No, you're honestly nail on the head. Like we've had some meetings recently just about that at a conceptual level. Like,
oh, that's funny.
yeah, because we're working on doing some future things with the company, like that I'm really excited about. I'm not going to spill any beans because, but just like conceptually, like just
hmm
new and exciting stuff that we haven't done before. We don't want to get stale. We don't want to get burned out either, and we want to
Exactly.
make sure
Yeah.
that we,
And that's
like,
another thing to watch out for, getting burnt out, man. I've been
yeah,
there. I've been like borderline sometimes, like, oh, I feel the burnout and I'm like, time for a break. Like I can't let myself
oh yeah.
get to that position, because once you burn out, there's just no coming back.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But
With like the weekly events and things like that, that can be possible because it's every single.
I mean, I did 20, was it 20 festivals last year? I'm just like, dude,
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, I can't, man. Like, and I had the
Yeah.
idea, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna go to a festival unless I'm getting paid for it. But then I was getting paid for it. I'm still getting burnt out. Like that doesn't,
Yeah.
the money doesn't matter. My body can't
Yeah.
handle it.
Wow. That's a lot. That's more festivals I think than I've been to in a year. That's incredible.
It's just, I'm a hot commodity. No,
Yeah.
just playing.
Hell yeah, man.
We're gonna end this pretty soon. Is there anything else you want to say before we end?
Not much, dude. I mean, just thanks for supporting our events and everything. So and inviting me on and chatting with me a little bit. Like it's exciting to learn a little bit more about what you're doing,
Yeah, for
and
sure, man.
to tell you a little bit more about our endeavors and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, you ever want to talk again about this and other things, like happy to do it. And yeah, for the events coming up, I'll shoot you a message and see what you're able to come out to.
Yeah, do you got any on top of your head that are just coming up? So just for the viewers.
Yeah, definitely. So coming up soon in April is the Polish Ambassadors coming to Janus. Awesome, funky, hippie, just amazing music. And then the Hamdi tour is coming to Jacksonville, Orlando, and Tampa. Just amazing, just like UK bass. Definitely check that out. Big Wild is doing a tour through Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, and Miami. So come to all of those if you can. just come with us, hop on the bus. Tell you what, if
On the bus.
anybody makes it to all 4 shows,
It's a free bus ride.
we'll get your ticket for all of them. If you come to the 4th show and prove your tickets for all of them, we will refund all 4 of your tickets and you go for free.
Holy shit. Where can people find you? If where can they find your companies, and where can they find you?
So we're our Instagram is at Alliance_events. I think there's an underscore. Amy will kill me if I.
I'm just writing it down so I can put it in the description down below.
Okay, cool. And then alliancenightlife.com we'll have all of our events listed there and links for upcoming tickets. And then my personal is just Dave Marren, just like my name.
And then do you have a Unity one?
Yes, Unity Music, UNITEAMUSIC.
Okay.
Definitely check out our Instagram, and then unity.com for the website as well.
Oh, yeah. A website too?
Yep. And there's a download link on the website to check that out.
Okay, I will put all of that in the description down below. And then this is just for the viewers. This episode will be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Heart Radio, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, you fucking name it. But the video versions are only available on Spotify, and it's available on YouTube. Dave, it has been a pleasure, my guy. Thank you so much for coming on. And like I say at every episode, I will catch y'all at the next one.